Welcome to Sports Desk. I'm Scott Rapoport in for Steve Overmeyer tonight. Well, here we are, the halfway point, Week 8 in the NFL. There's a bunch of good matchups this week, and here to break it down for us and tell us which games he likes is our Vegas insider and host of the Bet the Board podcast, Payne Insider. Welcome, my friend. How are you, sir?
Everything's going great. How are you doing tonight, Scott?
Very well, thank you. So what do you like, sir?
The first game I think that really caught the attention of pro bettors is Baltimore and Carolina. And we saw that line open a pick'em, and money has just kind of poured in on the Ravens. I tend to agree with that move. When you start to dig into some of the underlying metrics, you'll just see a Baltimore team that has an elite defense, ranks top 5 in both rushing and passing success rate. And I think there's this narrative that Joe Flacco isn't good anymore. I know he's had a few down seasons. That has not been the case through 7 weeks so far. Flacco right now operating the 12th most efficient offense in the NFL. When you kind of add both sides together, Baltimore 5th best in the entire league in adjusted net yards per play. You look at Carolina, they're a little phony. That's a deceiving 4-2 record. I know they're 3-0 at home, even more deceiving. They beat a Dallas team. Hasn't won on the road yet. It required a +4 turnover differential to hang on to beat an overrated Cincinnati team. And then they beat the 1-6 New York Giants. They were actually outgained in that game by 2.8 yards per play. Carolina, to me, is an average ball club. The Baltimore Ravens should do well here, and that is the professional side. The second game we can talk about this week is Sunday Night Football. You know, the Saints returned to the scene of the crime. They were bounced from the playoffs a season ago after Keenum and Diggs connected on the Minnesota Miracle. The angle that's attracting pro money here is the over. The initial position came in over 51.5. I think that's with good reason. You have a Saints offense right now just humming on all cylinders. They're multiple. They can attack you differently now with the return of Mark Ingram. And when you look at that pass offense, it's number 1 in the NFL in success rate. Over 57% of the Saints' passes have graded successful. You start to look at that matchup a little bit. Minnesota's defense, I think they're extremely overrated. Nothing close to what they were a season ago when they finished 2nd in defensive efficiency. This year, they've actually allowed 7.5 yards per pass attempt. That's 6th worst in the NFL. And I think what's more troubling, Scott, when you look at who they've played against, they've managed to face all 3 rookie quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. It's a little tougher task this week with Drew Brees. And then you look at the injuries. There's a possibility of Minnesota being without 5 starters on the defensive side of the ball.
5,
we know Anthony Barr is out.
Yeah.
We know Andrew Sendejo is out. Everson Griffin, Xavier Rhodes, and Linval Joseph are all questionable. I think points aplenty here. We know Kirk Cousins should be able to move the ball successfully as well. He's got no issues throwing it all over the place. And I think this will shock some people. Minnesota is actually the 3rd most pass-heavy team in the NFL. They throw it over 68% of the time. If the Saints get out to a lead here and force Minnesota to play catch-up, there should be some fireworks in this game. So we like the over in this one. And then the last game we can talk about today, and I'll make this quick, it's the Jets and the Bears. The money has come in on the total as well here, specifically in the first half under 23 total points. We know Sam Darnold has really struggled against elite defenses this season, and they face the Bears. Number 1 in defensive efficiency. And you also look, Darnold's going to be without 3 of his best weapons on offense. Bilal Powell is out. Quincy Enunwa is out. Robbie Anderson out as well. For the Bears, I think the scoreboard last week helped inflate the number here. Chicago was actually set up with 2 short field touchdowns after the Patriots turned it over. They were gifted 75 yards of offense at the end of each half, which I think is distorting some of the yards per play metrics. The Jets are also going to get a few defenders back this week as well. But the biggest thing about this total, Scott, is the wind. Wind is the largest factor when it comes to totals, and right now they're projecting 18-mile-per-hour steady winds at Soldier Field, gusts up to over 30 miles per hour. All those factors led to just a steady stream of under money in this game.
Real quick, if I can go back to your first point, Ravens and Joe Flacco and your full-throated endorsement of Joe Flacco, you think that'll surprise some people when they hear you say that?
I do. I think it's really stunning. And they go out and Baltimore drafts Lamar Jackson in the first round. To me, that was kind of a waste of a pick. You see them trying to justify that pick now. They're creating packages for him, and Flacco's sitting over there on the sidelines uninterested. I think Flacco has really stepped up his game. He's also been battling injuries the last couple of seasons. He dealt with the knee injury. He dealt with the back injury. He is fully healthy, and the way you're going to attack Carolina in this game is over the top, potentially with John Brown. This is an explosive passing offense, and Carolina's secondary is actually one of the weakest in the NFL. You could see some big plays there from Flacco to John Brown.
Now, one last point I want to make. I can kind of hear people in Minnesota groaning a little bit with outrage and upset when you say that defense ain't all that or is not what they thought it was last year. What makes you say that?
Well, right now, you look at them, they're 16th in defensive efficiency. They were second last year. They're beat up on that side of the ball. They've been taken advantage of. They haven't played a great strength of schedule of opposing offenses. So I think this is just a much taller task here when you're talking about Drew Brees and the Saints with revenge on their mind this week. We've seen the side also attract money. The Vikings opened a 2.5-point favorite. They're now a 2-point underdog. So not only money on this over, but money on the Saints as well.
Payne Insider, great to talk to you. Thank you very much. You can get more of his picks on his podcast, Bet the Board. We'll be right back with more Sports Desk right after this.